With this, we will commence our proceedings. I request you to mute your mics. Om Shri Gurubhyo Parama Gurubhyo Srimadananda Tirtha Bhagavat Padacharyobhyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyati Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibuddha Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparita Matiprabhudan Vadan Narasya Kritavan Bhuvitatvavadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Anandadikta Munivam Namami Pujyaya Rahavendraya Satya Dharmarataya Cha Pajatam Kalpavrikshaya Namatam Kamadenive Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विश्विदावहैः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Kathopanishad Dvitiya Valli. So we will every time we go to a new Valli, we will be reciting the Mangalacharanam. Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai Sarvatah Paramayate Sarva Prani Hidistaya Vamanaya Namostute Samasta Guna Purnaya Dosha Duraya Vishnave Namah Shri Prananathaya Vamanayate Ishtadayine Om Hari Om. Welcome to the second Valli. The second Valli, what we are going to see, because we have seen the prelude to the second Valli mostly in the first Valli. The first Valli was prelude to the second Valli, basically to exercise a choice. That's what we said. So every time, when we live in this world, there is always two things that confront us on a day-to-day basis. This Valli is going to highlight and tell us what is this, because when we have seen, how Nachiketa has not succumbed to all the persuasions as well as, all the sort of a facilitation given by Yama, he has still withheld himself. He has kept his Vairagya quotient 100%. So he was able to he becomes eligible to get the spiritual knowledge. So once he has proved himself to be so eligible, there was no other way but for Yama to get through to him and to provide the knowledge. But before providing the knowledge, he gives him some hints as to what this knowledge is about, how this knowledge will have to be taken into account, how will be useful to the person during his lifetime, and what are all the options available to him in this world when he is living. This is what he is trying to do. It is nothing but Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 onwards, whatever Krishna is telling progressively, all those things starts from the second Valli of Kathopanishad. Second Valli of Kathopanishad onwards, most of the Bhagavad Gita slokas are inspired. You will find most of the meanings in Bhagavad Gita in the slokas of Kathopanishad also. So this is going to proceed like this. So now this is going to tell us how, as a human being, when we are living every moment of our life, even this moment, at this moment, always, because we may not be aware of it, we always have two choices always. Which choice we are going to exercise is going to be the final outcome of entire experience and the life what we are going to have. Based on that only we are going to have our prarabdhas as well as punyas, papas, what we will be earning will be depending upon the exercise of this choice. How this choice arises, how we are going to exercise, that is what is going to be elaborately discussed in the second Valli. So we will go to the first mantra of second Valli. It is in your page 36 of the document, chapter 1.2. It must have been mentioned there. We have got 25 verses, 25 mantras are there in this particular chapter. Each mantra is a potential equivalent to a chapter of a partial chapter of a Bhagavad Gita. So the first mantra what you are going to talk about, you might have seen, because there is a small heading given there. It is given Prayas and Shreyas. It is given the two names, Prayas and Shreyas. The choice available to all men. That's what it has been mentioned there. So let us see what is the choice they are talking about. and how it is going to enable us, and what is that, are we aware of these choices whenever it is available? First, we will have to be aware, is there any choice? And when you, for to be aware, what we will have to do, because most of the time we are not aware. This is to prepare ourselves so that we are aware of the choices available. Once you are aware of the choices available, you will be able to exercise. Otherwise, given a choice, all men, all of us, we are never aware of the choices. That is why we are doing what we are doing at any circumstances. If we are aware of the choices, what we would have done could have been different. This is exactly what it is talking about. This is the highest concept every human being, irrespective of in India or anywhere, it's for the whole mankind. The entire mankind has to understand that. If it is understood, the world will be a wonderful place to live on, because everyone is aware, what they have to do. Once you are aware, you will be living as per what is that is required of you to the world. See, the world is always beautiful. Whether you are able to see the beauty of the world depends upon your ability to see the beauty. So what that beauty is, the final reality of the beauty that is available in the world, which we may not be able to always have. Sometimes, we detest some places. Sometimes we get attracted to some places. Sometimes, because we we have a liking for certain places. And sometimes, because we don't want to go to some places, all those, things are taking place in our life. So when these are happening, because what is the root cause behind that? Is there any really, is it that, any place on the world, is it detestable? After all, the Prakriti is Lakshmi. The Lakshmi is the one who creates the entire cosmos, the entire, the command of the Brahman. She is the one who created. She has created all of us. She has put us in a harmony. So the resonance is there. There is harmonic resonance is taking place, all the beings in this world and what she has created. When we are able to live with that harmonic resonance, that with that bliss that is available to us. So when you mean a harmonic resonance, it means that you are not only, because you are looking around, you are taking everyone's need into account. That is one of the thing that is coming about. Let us go into this particular mantra and the Valli onward, the second Valli onwards, how it takes up to the highest concept, which is going to help us gloriously in our lives. For every human being, it is a right of every human being, irrespective of the fact which part of the world he is there. So this is what the Upanishad gives. It is not only for the Hindus or the people who are born in this country, it is for the whole world. So the first mantra, if you see 1.2.1, the choice available to all men, this is what the first mantra, it is Anyat Shreyo Anyat Dutaiva Preyoste Ube Nanartha Purusham Sinitaha Tayo Shreya Adadanasya Sadhu Bhavati Hiyate Arthadyavu Preyo Vrinite. This is what the mantra says. It will look like, when the mantra is seen as it is, it is not, it is just giving some sort of a obscure Sanskrit poem. But if you really go into this, you take the Padacheta, Anvaya, and you see that it brings out, like when you are able to get all the sort of, from bottom of the sea, when you are able to give all the corals, all the gems, when you are able to get all those gems come out of this mantra. The first word is Anyat Sheyo, Anyat Sheyaha, Anyat Utayeva Prayate. The mantra says Anyat Sheyo, Anyadutaiva, because when you give Anvaya, when you give Padacheta, Anyat Shreyo, Anyat Utayeva Prayate. See, the Anyat Shreyo in the sense, Shreyas in the Shreyas and Prayas, what has been mentioned. Shreyas, the root word is Shri. Shri is H-H-R-I, not S-H-R-I-I. S-H-R-I in the sense, anything that is sort of lustrous, when it is going to be radiant, when it is going to show the light, as we have discussed last week, because when you come into the room, when you put the light on, when you are able to see everything, that is the Shri. It gives you the luster, radiance, you are able to see and all. The Shri is the root of the word, and it gives not only that, once you add one more I, Shri, when it refers to Mahalakshmi, it refers to the Prakriti because it is created by her. And in fact, if you go by certain concepts, she is the one who gives all the qualities which is applicable to every person, because she knows what is the quality to be given. In fact, if you remember, there is one Kuratalwan's, one very famous work is there, Sri Lakshmistwavam. In that, he says when you are created, the Brahman looks at Lakshmi, Ingita Anusarin, based on her indication, he gives the qualities to the person as to what he deserves. How does he deserve? Because he deserves based on all his accumulated chitta over the period of all his births. Based on that, what is he eligible that's being given to him? So that to enable him to get and come out of the entire cycle of birth and death. That's what, the meaning is there. So Anyat Shreyo, in the sense, it is like that, because she gives the entire benefit to him. Shreyo, when the root Shri is means, what it means is there are two things, Shreyo and Priya. Preyo, in another word is that prayers. Prayers, the root word is Pri. Pri in the sense which you likes, what you like, what you want, what you think will give happiness to you at any moment. So that is Pri. From Pri, the prayers has come. Shri is which is luxurious radiance, which is taking you, elevate you to a level, which you can't, which you are eligible to go. That is Shri. That is called Shreyas. From Shri, Shreyas has come. From Pri, prayers has come. When you mean a Shreyas, if you can see, how we can very describe in a very, very commonly understandable language. Shreyas is what is good for your entire life. What is good for your entire living. What is that, you need to live gloriously in this life, that is being given when you exercise the option called Shreyas. And prayers is the one with immediate benefit, immediate happiness you will get. For instance, you are going into, say, let us say, you've gone to a restaurant, a buffet is there. Buffet, there so many things are spread out. And actually, as per your constitution, maybe, as per your physical condition, you are supposed to take only few of the things you are not supposed to take. But once you go into the buffet, everything is spread. It is for you to take. So what you will think, I think it looks so good. Why can't I take it for a day? Why can't I make an exception? Though it is not good for you, it will immediately gives the benefit, it gives the happiness. After all, because, okay, let me take, one day, let me make a change. See, one of the things what we know, all of us know the rules. But some of the most successful people, in the corporate world, who break the rules. If you go by the rules, you will not be able to do so many things. When you want to do certain things, which is required immediately and all, you will have to bypass and perhaps you have to break the rules. When you break the rules, then, because at that point of time, you are able to do it. Finally, you are able, because it's a man-made rules. It is not some divine-made rules and all. Whereas in Shreyas and all, it is the divine rules which is scripturally prescribed, morally validated, by time immemorial, it has been given to us for the well-being of our own life, how to live a glorious life. That's what being given. So what is good for us is what is good for the entire life of us is Shreyas. What is good for our immediate necessity, what we think, because what is good for you, perhaps some people may not like the buffet. They would like to a la carte only. Even if they take, they know what they want to order separately and take it as a la carte. But if you ask them to go to the buffet, they will not like it. They will not like it. Even if they go to the buffet, they will take only what they are required. At that point of time, they go with it. They will not like to go if they know if he has got a particular problem, he will not touch certain things. He will have a control. He will do that. When you have the control, so you are exercising the option of Shreyas. When you are unable to exercise the control, when you think, it is, it's going to give an immediate pleasure, so there is no great, deal, in breaking the rules or going by what is available immediately. That is where, the prayers comes. So then why it happens? Is it that, always it is necessary? For instance, if you take the children, our own children, and we ourselves in our younger days, what we would have done, because we would have gone to the school, and if there is a holiday, we enjoy it. If you don't have to school, that is the most fascinating thing for a child. Even now, it is for children. If there is a holiday, they enjoy it. It is the nature of the child. We have also enjoyed. But when you have to play, you play, as long as you want. But then your parents put a restrictions. Come, you should not play beyond this time, like that. They call you back. In our earlier times, most of the time we will be on the road with our friends. Hardly we will be in the house because the parents will be looking for us. Where are you? They will try to call you at the earliest and all. At the same time, when there is a holiday, when you don't go to school, we used to think, that is the best thing that is available to us. But by going to the school only, having the education only, we are able to become what we are in the professional or personal life. So at that point of time, the need of the child, the need of the infant at that point of time, because the play is the very important thing. At that point of time, it has to be balanced, because shreyas or prayers, whatever it is there, it has to be a balance. So you have to have some balancing, with the play as well as the study. So, but if you think the studies are boring, the teachers are not teaching well, because I would rather do something else, I will play, and because a lot of people have also taken that option, it is there and all. But later, they may regret. Look, if I had studied, at that point of time, well, I could have got admission in this, and I could have gone for this and all. They regret later and all. The thing is, they have when they have exercised the option at that point of time, they have exercised what we call praise. Whereas when the shreyas, when it is there, when person is trying to have some discipline, he doesn't know whether it is really good or bad and all, because he has seen it and he is able to exercise, and he has not found any great charm in only playing or doing something else, because like the child does it. And likewise, medicine also, if it is a sort of the bitter medicine, the children will not take it, but if it is a sweet coated, they take it. The sweet coated medicine is, of course, the bitter medicine is sweet coated so that the child takes, finally it gets cured of the disease or illness. Likewise, it is there, but the Shreyas is the one, once you understand the real sort of consequence out of the things that you are able to observe and you are able to deal with, then you are able to exercise Shreyas. That we will not be able to always do that. For instance, when you are driving in a traffic, nowadays traffics are so bad, but you have to urgently go. So at that point of time, even without breaking the rules, having concern for others, if you still drive, and if you think, because you are able, still you will be able to make up whatever it is. Because on the other day I saw a news in Bangalore, a surgeon has to park his car somewhere and walk for 45 minutes to do a surgery. It came in the papers. Because that is what because Shreyas, because he didn't wait, because how am I to go in the school? Unless I'm able to reach, I will not be able to do, and I will have to go by the car only and all. Because it's a sort of a big punishment for him to be in the traffic. Despite that, he has taken the option, because let me, let me leave this damn thing here, let me walk and do the surgery at the appointed time. So that is Shreyas. But how much time we have that concern to do the duty? To do our own thing, because in our own family also, when we have got an obligation to do, sometimes, we think, okay, if not today, we will have it done later. There is no great deal about it. By delaying it for a day or two, by a week, nothing great is going to happen. Let us go for that, because that is the normally approach, people may have. So that is what, it says, when you are able to hold on. So what is that you will have to do? What is expected of you as far as possible, and that is called Shreyas. See, one thing, let's not too much get into this, because there are three things all of us are composed of: Sattva, Rajasa, and Tamasa. All the three gunas are there in all of us. Without three, there cannot be any human being. There can't be a human being only with 100% Sattva or 100% Rajasa and 100% Tamasa. So they are all getting developed and they become preponderant at a particular point of time. So when you are going and bargaining in the market, for something, at that point of time you are Rajasa, because in the sense, because you will have to make a bargain, the transaction is there. At that point of time you can't be Satvik, because you will have to get a better deal and all. That is Rajasa. But at that point of time, once the deal is over, it is a win-win. The other person also know what you expect, and you also know what is he likely to offer. So basically, the balance happens, you come back. But whereas, in sometimes where you have to do, because you have got to go in a particular time, or you have got to complete a particular job, For instance, in a nuclear power plant, the man has to operate at the appointed hour so that he is able to send the coolant and the heavy water at the right time, and he'll have to have the recycle. Everything is sort of prescribed. Once you know it is your bound and duty, you will do come what may. Because even if you are hungry, or even if you have got such urgent, you have not slept for 8 hours, still you will go and do it. So that type of a discipline, when it comes, you will have to do, because you are concerned about so many people. So if the power plant doesn't operate, the plant will go bad and the power will not be available to so many times, and the damage to the power plant is so high. When you have got all the consciousness, when the skill, when you are exercising in the action to the best possible level, because at the highest possible level you are able to exercise the skill for the benefit of that particular action is called shreyas. But if you give some slip up, what is there, because there could be always, the humans are, it is to err is human. So what is the problem? Once in a while I can err, but to continuously err is sort of inhuman. What will happen is, once you start giving way to an error, commit an error and give an accommodation to that, the human tendency to repeatedly do the error to the fullest possible extent, that is called pramodan. Pramodan in the sense, you will continuously do the error. You do the error once in a while, it's okay. But if you do the error and again, it's inhuman. You should not be doing that. So this is what Shreyas and Prayas, when they say, because why they are saying, because there is nothing you will not be able to identify every time what is Shreyas and Prayas. Every day we are on call of duty, either to the call of the family, or call of our own requirement to comply with certain things, or our own call to the society or the group to which we are attached. You are doing it. At that point of time, so many suggestions will come, because let us not do this, let us do this and all. If you are able to, as long as able to stick to what you think, the right, which is going to fold on a long term, you are able to, because once you exercise that option, you should not have anything thinking on that. Okay, I have exercised the option, done with it. I should not be doing anything at all. I am just reminded of one of the greatest words of Mark Twain. I think that is, in fact, it is a sort of Upanishadic statement. He says, once you speak the truth, you don't have to remember anything. So that is the highest possible happiness. But whereas we try to remember, when we want to talk to, look, on the other day you said that even in our family, and in 1988 you told me like this, and 1978 I said like that. Why I had to remember all those things? If I have been open enough, I have expressed. I don't have to remember anything. If I can speak the truth, I can speak the truth spontaneously and forget about it. But we are carrying the luggage. When you are carrying the luggage, it becomes a praise. You will try to condition your reply or condition your action because you have got the luggage in you. So slowly give up the luggage. That's what the Shreyas says. But when you have the luggage, your option will be like that. You see, even if something, even if some truth has to be told, you will quote it and tell as it suits you, so that you can't be faltered for your earlier action or the possible future action. So all this type of conditionalities, when it comes about, your sort of action is conditioned, contaminated. It is not purely the action which should be taken at that point of time. This is a very, very difficult and rare concept, but then this concept we are all aware, because when we are knowing what we do, because once you do what is at that point of time, not carrying anything, doing like that, you will be doing that like that. See, for instance, even you book a ticket, and then suddenly you'll have to cancel, and for that cancel only for few reasons are there. You will have to give one of the reasons and cancel it, but still they may not be doing it. Then we try to find a way out and do that and all. So either you go by that, or why don't you go about it? If next time when I do it, I will not take any, I will just try to book, and as and when I require, I will not do anything. Normally what we do, we try to book even when the possibility may be there. There may not be actually a sort of a need for us to travel. I may have to go, let me book it in time. So because once you know that your planning will be good, you will be able to exercise your option well, and you will be able to put up your skill properly and all. This is what basically it gives to the mindfulness. When you are mindful, you will be always being able to do what is required at that point of time. Otherwise, if you are not mindful, what you will do is you will try to give a sort of a try to sort of a, skip the responsibility to someone else, point to someone else for your own inconvenience. You will try to show someone else as a reason. So that's what will happen, because this happened. Shreyas in short, they are telling it because we will get a lot of examples as we go about it. I'm just trying to bring about Shreyas and prayers, because in short, if you have to do in pure Hindi, if you have to do, Jo acha hota hai, that is Shreyas. What is finally what we get as a good, in our lifetime, that is Shreyas. What acha jo lagta hai, that is prayers. So what we think is good, that is prayers, but what is really good for us, the divine ordained, because even we know by our own wisdom and all, how we gain the wisdom, we are learning from various experiences. When we are getting the experiences, when we are able to take the learnings, the teachings from those experiences and keep it and exercise our ability to discriminate, that is Shreyas. So more you are able to gain your experience, more you are able to discriminate, then you become closer to becoming a Shreyas. In fact, you become eligible to be getting the sort of the grace of the God, because in the God realization, what they said, you are slowly become, your eligibility becomes more and more. Once you learn, whatever experience comes to us, only don't think about the experience. Why it happened to me? It should not have happened to me. I did everything properly. I took all those things. Then leave it out. The happened is happened. But the choice is yours. You can't be just be gloating over, as to what has happened, why it has happened and all. Now it has happened. So based on that, what I have to do? Having learned that, what is that? Because next time, what should I do? So then you gather the experience. So likewise, as in Hindi, they beautifully they said, जो अच्छा होता है वो श्रेयस है, वो अच्छा लगता है, that is praise. So अच्छा लगता है, that is depends upon what is good, what appears to be good for you may not be good for someone else. So, because it is depending upon, our own vasanas, our own mindset, our own experiences, our own sort of way of life, what we have learned all these days. For someone, going by the train is the most wonderful experience. Someone, because it's all a hassle, you have to go to the station, get into that, because it's all getting used to and also. What is good, you exercise at that point of time. But when you are exercising at that point of time, when you are having a concern for others also, that is Shreyas. When you don't have, because you don't bother about anyone's concern, come what may look, because this is what I want to do it and I will have it done, that is Shreyas. In short, that is it. When you are because when you are doing something, when you are trying to go with the family, you plan so well so that there is no discomfort for all the members of the family. And even if you want to plan and your wife says, come on, what is that you are doing? You do like that and you will do it, because finally no one should be inconvenienced. The same attitude when it goes beyond your family and others, when you are taking it up, that is Shreyas. When you have the concern of others also built into your action, that is Shreyas. When only what you want and what you want to have is being built into, that is praise. This is exactly, in short, they have said, these two serving divergent purposes. That's what the two serving divergent purposes, and they bind the man. So what happens, because why they bind the man, because once you know you are exercising, by virtue of exercising our option. See, for instance, the children maybe, when we are going to the school, there were very many schools available. Some people would say, these convents are very good, they teach and other things. Some people say, no, these certain other schools are there, where the math, science are taught very well. Likewise, so many things will be there. You will be wondering, which school. Finally, your parents will find which is convenient for them, with you closer to the house, you will be able to come, you will have more time to read. And, you don't have to be spending too much time on transportation. That was, in those days. Nowadays, even if 50 kilometers are there, parents are willing to send the children. If the school is said to be good and all, it has got a lot of publicity. That's what it happens. So when it is that, because then you do that and you don't crib, because after that, I should have been sent to the school. Some of my friends have gone to the school, and that's not it. You go by what is it. It's an instrument. School is an instrument for you to learn. It is for you to get the knowledge and whatever it is. Even if you go to the other school, if you are not going to get it, and you don't know what type of education is there, it is only by word of mouth and about publicity, it's being said like that. So therefore, when the concern for others is always there, then, because even, when our mothers had the concern, because the mother has got the highest concern towards the child. So finally, she meets the needs of the child and children, as the case may be. Then only, she takes her share of it, whatever it is. That's how she does it. That is the concern. That is, motherly concern is inbuilt. Because it is anatomical, philosophical, the physiological, it comes about. But when the same is there in your thinking, when it same is there in your thinking, it is a sort of psychic, the psychotropy. So psychotropy comes, then it is shreyas, and otherwise it becomes preyas in the sense you will be sort of, when you have the mindfulness, exercise the mindfulness, taking concern of others when you are driving in a road, or even, because when you are in a public place, you don't shout and talk over phone, you take it in a very feeble voice so that, others are not disturbed. That is shreyas, that is a habit. So when it happens, that means it's a mindfulness. You are mindful of others. When you are not mindful, it becomes, because it's a sort of a autopilot. What they call it, the subconscious, it becomes a habit, you go by that and all. This is exactly, when you are mindful, it is shreyas. What you are mindful? Mindful in the sense, mindful and concern for others. Both element will have to be there. It's not only mindfulness per se. See, for instance, the greatest example is the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, going to the second chapter. When Arjuna said, Senor Bayor Madhye Ratam Stapaya. So when he takes, the entire, Krishna is a great psychologist. In fact, some American universities have got the Krishna's photo as he is the first teacher of psychology in the entire world. That's what they consider. When he said, when he asked, he was confused, he wanted to see, so many people are arraigned, because what to do. He asked Krishna to take me and put across, in midst the midst of the both armies and all. When he took him, Senor Payor Madhye Ratam Stapaya Achyuta, when he took him there, and he is very, very clever. Krishna was very clever, what he just took him in front of Drona and Bhishma. Both are gurus. He had the option of taking, across to Duryodhana. Duryodhana, in the sense, he would immediately come on, let us start the fight immediately, let him fight to finish. That's what it will come, because they are already arraigned against the Kauravas. But he took them across, to the gurus and Pitamaha, Bhishma and Drona. So then he felt, how is that? They are all Pitamaha and they are all my relatives. How I can go? He had all the confusions there and all. Had he taken to Duryodhana, he would not have had any confusion. So that's why why he purposely took him to Bhishma and Drona, in the sense, when he sees them, he says, he will not be, because he will be hurting his relatives, the entire thing will be going off and all. My relatives, everything will be safe, but others can, they can be killed. That is prayers. When a war is, you will have to fight with your skill. Bring the skill to the highest level. Those who survive, whether your relatives or not other relatives, or your gurus or other gurus. So he wanted to bring that, because he was prayers and he has to be made into a shreyas. That is the first step the Krishna took him, because he purposely took him in front of Duryodhana and Bhishma, because they know he is a guru, and in front of Pitamaha, they are all, of course, they just can't pick up their arrow, bow and arrow, because that is what their condition is, because they have all worshipped him and they have been trained, taught by them. How can they go and fight against them? So just to bring about, when you have to do the duty, when you have to bring the skill, when you have to take the concern for others, in the sense you cannot differentiate. The war is sort of a great purpose. For the purpose, when you are going to do it, you cannot be differentiating is my relative, Suppose, even in India, Pakistan war takes place, because some of our soldiers their relatives may be in the Pakistan also. It is happening even in the highest level, because the senior level, some relatives are here, some relatives are there. You can't be differentiating when you fight because you are fighting for a nation and that is your job. You have to do that. As a Shreyas, you will have to fight for that. You cannot be differentiating that fourth fellow is this and all. You cannot be seeing all those things. The Shreyas is when you are taking the purpose foremost and you are taking the concern for others, for your team or for your organization and for the place when you are working, and you are working towards that purpose. And otherwise, you think, look, I will not fight, this doesn't suit me. I will fight, whenever it suits me, like that. You can't choose the thing, as you would like to, because there are two things in the world you can't choose. One is, your parents, another is your boss. They may be coming from anywhere, because it is even an organization. You can't tell, he should be my boss, he will be appointed. Likewise, when you are born into this world, you have not chosen. You have been born into this family where you have to be born. As we have seen in the last week, as we have said, Krishna, whatever, because he tells, mind is, not under control. When Arjuna says, it is going out hither and thither, but you are asking me to do all these great concepts, how am I to do, by doing this, what am I going to tell when I am not able to control? He said, yes, you will not be able to control the mind, but by doing that, whatever you are doing, will not be going waste. You take every endeavor, you take every endeavor to do it, that will finally give you. You may not be able to immediately get everything in this birth. In the next birth, you will be put in the virtuous company of other people. So you will be born into the virtuous family, and you will be further gaining knowledge and getting into the level and all, because we will all be prayers, till such time, we are all emancipated, from this entire sort of a chitta development, to such a level when we don't have any unfulfilled desires or unfulfilled, because there is no desire thought about. As we have seen last week, when Prahalada was asked to ask for a vara, he said, you give me a vara, then I don't have any, because desire doesn't come out of my thought. That's what he said. Because once desire comes, it is a chain. It will go on coming one after the other and all. The prayers is the one which gives the action to be taken what is attractive to you. The simple thing is, wherever you see the things which doesn't have any magnetic attraction and draws you, that is Shreyas. Where there is a magnetic attraction and draws you and makes you to indulge, that is prayers. All these advertisements, they are all magnets. Even if you don't have a desire, even if you don't have a need, they are creating a desire in you, they are creating a need in you. You don't need so many gadgets in your house, but the advertisement create a need in you, because that is the advertiser's job. Because the people who are working in the advertising industry, they know that they allow to know the psychology of people. Otherwise, they will not be able to create any sort of advertisement worth the name. They give, because you say, you need this particular thing, what it comes in, it will help you and all those things. You go to a saree shop, when the salesman shows so many colors and all, you feel, he is showing all the colors in the world. But still, your wife will be able to discriminate and say there is particular color which is not available there. You would be wondering how come he is showing all the colors, but she is able to point out there is one color which is not available and all. Because they are having a praise in the sense, they have something in the mind. They have been, the magnet was there. Someone else must have been wearing a saree of a particular combination somewhere, because that is in their mind and all. So that is how they are able to do it. But actually, if you see, our senses doesn't have any discrimination. Your eyes, it doesn't discriminate between the colors. It is able to see all the colors. It is able to see all the sights, whatever comes in front of you. Some of them, even if it is sort of a weird one, you may be closing your eyes for a moment and then seeing the other side. But it doesn't discriminate. It shows everything. And like what you are hearing, your ear doesn't discriminate between what you are hearing. You are able to hear everything. Good, bad and all, you are able to see, get the mantra also, you are able to see a pop song also, if your children are playing some fancy song also, you are able to see, and somewhere, people are abusing each other, that also you are able to hear. But then you don't get, everything into your mind, you just throw it out, because it all comes and goes as it is. They don't have any discrimination. The discrimination, when you are able to take what you have to take, that is where the discrimination. You take only what is suitable to you. Likewise, where there is no, if basically what happens is, don't get unduly attracted by anything that is Shreyas. See, for instance, if a person is totally infatuated, because he is after a particular, the person only, and I want to marry this girl only, or the girl says, I want to marry this only, because that is an infatuation. But the other person, if he is not interested, that is praise. Because you feel you are attracted, the other person doesn't have, because that's all and all. Because if it is mutually sort of, they discussed, or mutually if it is understood each other and all, then that is something called, you can say, because you cannot say, one has to be brahmachari all through them, because it is the nature of the anatomical need, physiological need, that may happen at that age, it may happen and all. At that point of time, if you are taking into account, everyone concerned. See, even after, because you married life also, you just say, you cannot only be, one person should not be commanding the entire thing and doing it. There may be a lot of good things, in you, your wife should be able to take it. And a lot of good things, which you might not have, perceived, that might be available from your wife. You should be able to imbibe those qualities in you. So that is mutual, once it takes place, that is that mindfulness is there. You are mindful when you see something good. That is, once you have a habit of seeing good and absorbing it, that is Shreyas. However little, a small, because the way of even putting the things, properly in the place, if you are able to observe, because I may not be doing, that well, I may be just spreading it out and all. When some person does it, when you are able to observe, if you are able to imbibe that, that is, something like that. That is exactly what Mark Twain said, because when then you should be able to appreciate immediately. The word of appreciation should come out immediately to show that you are able to get that things appreciate, and you are able to absorb and get it into you. That's why, when Mark Twain said, when you are able to speak the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Otherwise, because someone will say, look, on that day I said so good, but you didn't even notice, you have not appreciated. That's how, the entire the discussions and goes and all. Likewise, in coming to this particular example, as Krishna has taken him to particular place, why, in front of this and all, then he got, he wanted to discriminate in the sense to his advantage. He doesn't want his relatives to be killed. He doesn't want, but he doesn't have any qualms about killing Duryodhana and others and all. So when you come to the war, it is a skill you will have to exercise. It is your duty to fight the war. Then you will have to go about it. You cannot be going about, this my person, this person, and all. That should not, because one of our forthcoming slokas will be there. So that is what we'll have to take it into. And another attraction, and the which is not always we should not go for, that is attracting us, and it should not be there at all. In fact, last week we were quoting one particular sort of the one small line from Periya Puranam, when he said because the entire because Perinbam Chittinbam, when they were doing what is the highest bliss a man can do by becoming a Shreyas, what you are going to do. You will become so perfect in this world, and you will not have any agitation, you will not have any sort of raga, dvesha, and you will not find sort of, you will not be able to discriminate, with your people, and you will not be indiscriminately do anything, because just because you want it for your benefit and all. This is what we said. So Periya Puranam said, because what is the highest bliss? Perinbam in the sense, காமமிகு காதலிதன் கலவிதனை கருதுகின்ற ஏமமிகு கற்புடையாள் இன்பினும் இன்பாயது. Is it because normally a human being, he wants the highest pleasure he thinks is, when his lovelorn wife is near to him and he has got the lust, the satisfied, that is the highest, because it is much more than that. When it is there, that similarly, Bhajagovindam also, Sankaracharya said. On that I got a question. I think, some of you might have seen it. And the question that came about, if that is the case, is it that, wife and husband, should they be doing in the process of procreation? If that is, that is the Perinbam is going to be the highest bliss, should be there. Then only, we talked about the material consciousness and spiritual consciousness. The material consciousness is the one which always give to the material benefit available to at that point of time. So material benefit is transitory, ephemeral, and they will go off. Whereas the spiritual consciousness gives the lasting benefit, lasting happiness, not only in this life, in the future lives to come as well. That is the spiritual consciousness. The answer what it may give us at that point of time, the material consciousness, when you are focusing only on the pleasure part of it, then it is a material consciousness. But when you are, because in Grahastha, the dharma is you will have to have a family. Because when Grahastha dharma is Grahastha ashrama, when we say you will have to go through the brahmacharya ashrama, Grahastha ashrama, what afterwards vanaprastha and all comes. In Grahastha ashrama, you will have to have a family to look after the duties of the family as well as to leave it. When you have to leave it, you will have someone to take it over, and then you will be living. And you will be leaving it, you will be going for vanaprastha as the case may be. So when you are focusing on your sort of ordained function, the divine ordained function of a procreation, that is spiritual consciousness. But you are only thinking the pleasure is the main part of it, and that gives the material consciousness. One of the things I quoted in this case is, the Janaka's words to Rama when he handed over Sita to him. Imam Sita, Imam Sita, Mama Sutta, because that's one famous sloka is there. Imam Sita, Mama Sutta, Tava Jarma Charitava, because she is going to complete the dharma with you as a part of you. She is going to complete that. She is going to do it. So it is not the Yam Sita is not a simple word. This Sita, no, she is going to do it. I am handing over in Panigrahanam. When you give it, he says this and all. But the Yam Sita has got a greatest concept. This Sita, in the way he has to show Sita. Sita was right in front of Rama. She knows him. She knows her. She is different from Mandavi and others who are all meant for the other Lakshmana, Bharata and all. Urmila, Mandavi. all others are also there. She knows that. But when you say Diyam Sita, who is this Sita? This Sita is the one who has created the entire Prakriti. She is something like a Mahalakshmi because it has got a very great exposition. I will separately cover in another talk as to what is this Yam Sita this refers to. It encompasses a lot of Upanishadic concepts and everything and all. When you see when I am giving such a great power. I am great such a sort of a wonderful, glorious part of the entire thing that is not available anywhere else in the world. To befitting you so that with both, because when you have the Shakti and Shiva as they said, and unless Mahalakshmi and the Mahavishnu is there, the entire Srishti Sthiti Samhara will not take place. That has to take place. When it takes place, Sthiti also, because finally it has to come through. It has got a lot of, because Sthiti in the sense when you are maintaining the world, you have to give appropriately, what is required for the world as well as take out, whatever toxic that comes out of the world. So many things are there. So the Yam Sita has got a great meaning like that. So likewise, it is the material consciousness part of it, which always we are focusing on, that is prayers. The spiritual consciousness, when it comes about spiritual consciousness, how it comes about, more you learn from your experience, more you are able to discriminate using that experience. So as you become more experienced, as you become more accumulated with the experience, you are able to discriminate. You become eligible to get the divine grace. You are almost becoming almost closer to the part of towards the your journey to moksha. You are almost been getting into sort of a few more steps ahead. That is why, because when your ability to discriminate comes, when you are able to get the teachings, when you are able to get the knowledge from your experience and accumulate it and use it for your discrimination. So therefore, every time when it happens, you can't leave it. Because when some bad experience, sometimes you don't want to remember at all. So it happened sometime. I don't want to remember that, that bad damn thing, should not have happened. You should have the ability to recollect and face the damn thing so that what you learn from you should be more important. Because some pleasant things we will always remember. That's why, because when life goes very well, with whatever we have planned, whatever we have done, whatever we have activated, we will all be in a sort of a glorious journey. When something happens, because it is like torrent, it comes just like a storm that comes into the life. When it comes, then you get perplexed. How it happens? Why this happens to me? It should not have happened to me. Because when you are getting all those things, you are out of your roots. You are out of your axis. You are thrown away, like as Arjuna in this case. So that is where when you have to keep yourself, onto your keel and steadfast and think about, positively and go about doing your action, that is Shreyas. The Shreyas and Prayas, we will see a lot of other examples that will be coming out. In short, this mantra talks about, this is, Shreyas is the one, which immediately may not be appearing to be very attractive. It will not have any magnetic quality because it is exercising the discrimination based on your teachings. When you are exercising your option based on the accumulated teaching and based on discrimination, you will be doing it very wisely. That is Shreyas. It will not have any great attraction and pleasure or anything. Whereas, when you don't, when you are attracted by something, when you are materially attracted and when you are exercising the material consciousness of it, that is praise. And we will have to have both, because we will go and see how this material consciousness, how we are having, this material experience, material consciousness, how to convert it into experience towards, the spiritual consciousness and spiritual experience towards Shreyas, that we'll see. That is the entire, this particular chapter talks about. It is not that you could be totally devoid of prayers. It is not that you will be totally be Shreyas. And all of us will have sattva, rajasa, tamas, all of us. If you have 60% sattva, you can reasonably assume you have enlightened yourself. You cannot have 100% sattva. All of us can't have. You may have 40%, 20% sattva, 40% sattva, 20% rajasa, and maybe another 40%, you will have tamasika. It will all be there depending upon that. So when prayers, how will you be able to convert Shreyas? Because normally you are used to getting up only by 10 o'clock. The day goes waste. But slowly you take determination, you will try to do little, because you get up, 8, 7 and all. Try to change the habit. They are all you are discriminating based on your experience. By getting up 8, how you have felt, how the day was pleasant. By getting up 6, the day was pleasant. Once you gain your own experience, you will be able to discriminate. So basically, it is a self-discipline. No one has to impose upon you. It is you who has decided that, and who you wanted to embark upon the route of getting the best knowledge out of the discrimination, so that you will have a better part of your life, because guided by whatever you gathered all through, and your ability to discriminate will be infallible. Your ability to discriminate will take you to the right path. This is what this mantra in short says. So even the mantra, when it says, when you deviate, from what is the moral values and scriptural text and all, then it becomes prayers and all. Basically, you get all the do's and don'ts from the Vedas, Upanishads, and all the scriptures only. That is why the famous work of Vishnu Tattva Nirnaya of Madhvacharya, the first verse says, Sadagamaika Vignayam Samatim the Characharam. Most of the knowledge, why we are, because why, people say in Vishishtha Advaita, Sri Bhashyam, you read it. Why you should read Viveka Chudamani and all. Not only you read it, you get it from Guru. When they advise you, your power to discriminate goes up. Because you are able to identify, which is the right path, by which you will be able to phone and develop the ability to discriminate. And this is a process you will have to do it by yourself. That is being enabled by all these things. So with this, I will try to conclude today's, it's a small session. Of course, though we have given just a brief of it, and we will try to take it as interestingly as possible, because finally our aim will have to be, we will definitely have prayers as experience. We will be prayers at some point of time. We will be Shreyas at some point of time. All of us may not be Shreyas all through. All of us will not be prayers all through. How to convert our experience out of prayers towards, that is material consciousness and material experience, into spiritual consciousness, into spiritual experience, so that our mindfulness increases day by day. When the mindfulness increases day by day, taking the concern for others into account, we become a wonderful soul worth living, and shreyas is what is good for our life, and prayers is good for at that point of time. So we'll be able to follow that, as we go about it. And this is going to impart us much more knowledge. We'll also be quoting a lot of Bhagavad Gita verses. With this today, I will just close the session. After this, we will be going for one meditation. This time I have taken one important sukta because we are in a Pitru Paksha. So we have taken one suktam called Pitru Suktam. There is a Pitru Suktam. This is the suktam we should hear or recite during Pitru Paksha, so that all our Pitrus, wherever they are, they could be in Mrityu Loka because they would have reborn in this world, some of them. Some of them, those who were great, the emancipated soul, they would have gone to Vaikuntha Loka or wherever they are. And some of them might be in the Pitruloka and they would have gone to Swarga also. Pitruloka is supposed to be on the other side of the moon. That is why when the moon doesn't shine on the Amavasya day, the other side of the moon is being shown to the world. That is where Pitruloka. And Amavasya, whatever moon, the black moon, what you are seeing is supposed to be Pitruloka, where the power of the Pitrus are shown. But the Pitrus per se, they might have attained their dues by taking birth into this world, or some of them would have gone to the Mukti, or some of them in the process of getting a Krama Mukti, because in the sense they would have gone to Swarga. For 1 Manvantara period, they will be there, they will be getting into all those things. In spite of it, what happens is most of us, because you might have seen in your horoscope, they might have seen you have got a Pitru Dosham, this and that and all, as well as to bless you, as well as to remove all the obstacles to you. The Pitru Suktam should be recited during the Pitru Paksha, so that you and your entire family, all your near and dear, they get the benefit of it. And this today we will have this meditation. Afterwards, this I will post it to you. You can send this posted meditation to all your friends and others also. During this period, if they let them listen, listening itself is good enough. That will give them a lot of benefit out of that. With this, I will just close this session. We will go for the meditation immediately. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadidamastu ma vishvidavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.